Okay, so we have talked a lot about how the themes would look like in your canvas here, in your streaming setup. Let's have a short discussion about what themes actually are, how they work on a file by file level, and then this will hopefully give you some idea on how you can change themes. And in the next episode, we're gonna actually mod one of these themes to give it our own like personal style a little bit. And if you're like a kind of designer person or a web designer person, then all of this should make sense to you pretty quickly. If you are not a web designer or a digital designer person, then some of these things will probably not tell you anything, and that's fine. You can learn these things. So there's good tutorials about all these things out there online, and you can also do it just like me and just tinker around with it, and things will start to make sense and fall into places. So if you open one of these themes folders, let's have a look at what's actually in there. So if you go into Castle of SD, which is the theme I'm currently using, there's this theme JSON file in here. So if you open up that one, you see there's just like some meta information in here, like the name of a theme, who is the author, what's the folder name it should be living in, Castle of SD. There's a short description of it, and then there is a couple of links, the license, just like general information. And you will see a lot of this information is actually displayed here in Soothsayer. So here there's the license, here's like the socials and links. So that is that. And there's the description is here, right? Okay, what else is in there? The license file, of course. You can open that one if you want to. If you open that with our editor, we should be able to read that. They are all licensed under Creative Commons, which is good. It means that we can change it to our liking and don't step on everybody's toes. Okay, what else is in here? There are some images. We have used some of these images actually in our previous scene construction. And there are more images here. There's like some of these are just like a halo around heroes or maps. A lot of them have an alpha channel, like all the white you see here is usually transparent, so we can look through. Yeah, so there's like these things. I mean, it's kind of interesting, but whatever. Like there's just a couple of images in here. The other one is fonts. There are like different kind of fonts which are being used in this theme, and then there are CSS files. Okay, we're gonna talk about CSS files in a second. So this is what a theme encompasses. Now let's have a look at our OBS sources. So here we have HTML files, right? So the way this works is Soothsayer creates and edits these HTML files on the fly. So if we open these with a notepad, we can see like this is the actual HTML file which Soothsayer has created, right? And it contains some scripts, of course, because that is how the program works. So here we have a blue team logo. It would get from the Soothsayer program, I would get the actual blue team logo and give that as a resource into this HTML file. Okay, and the important part here is it also has a style sheet, and it has the single image.css file covered in here. So where are these CSS files? Well, this is the default theme. So these are all the CSS files for the default theme, but all of them are also in your theme folder, at least those which are being overwritten. All right. So there's also the same named CSS files, and all of these will override the CSS files we have seen in here. So the way Soothsayer works is it creates these HTML files, and then it dynamically styles those with the CSS files from your theme. So that is exactly the same way any web page works, which if you go out there and look at, I don't know, let's go to Nexus Gaming Series. So the way the Nexus Gaming Series homepage works, if you open the debugger here, we also see, well, it's just a basic base HTML file where there's like a couple of scripts, and there should also be CSS files in here. I am searching here, right? There's like CSS files. This is for fonts and so on. So you get the idea. I can probably also just find the CSS files in here if I want to. Can we see the CSS files? No, not quite. But anyways, you get the idea. Like almost every homepage is styled by these CSS files. So the HTML file tells you what is in this homepage. Like it's just a bare information, like here for example, right? Mapselect.html, if you open that, again with Notepad. So HTML only tells you what is being displayed, but it does not tell you how things are being displayed. The CSS file determines how things are being displayed, but it doesn't tell you what is being displayed. And together they form a homepage. And that homepage is being thrown into your OBS browser and then displayed in your canvas, so that you can have stuff like this, or stuff like this, not the video, stuff like this, so that this team logo is appearing, that is written into the HTML file. It gives you the reference to the actual team logo to display here. But where this team logo is being displayed, how large it is being displayed, if it is displayed with a solid background or transparent background, and all these kind of things, those are being determined by your CSS file, right? The HTML file will tell you that the name of the blue team is 210 Blackman Street, but the CSS file will tell you where to put this name, in which font to put this name, and which size this font is, how far is it from the top, how far is it from the left, what color is it, again, does it have a transparent background, and so on. All of that is being written into the CSS file. Also, the player pop-ups, they are a web source too. So if we go in here and we have our player pop-ups, and currently they are all empty, doesn't matter, or we can still show them. Like all of these are being, again, the actual content, like the names and the heroes being picked, currently none. These are written into the HTML, but how this looks like, the font, the size of the name, like where these background graphics, all of that is being written into the CSS file. All right, so this is the basic principle about how themes work, and I hope you now get a little bit of an idea of what we actually have to do if we want to change these themes. For example, if we go back into the theme folder here, Castle of SD, and we look at the images, like these are the little things we have just seen, right? So if you would change this image, you would also change the image of each copy of this in your pop-ups. So if I would change the color from this blue into, I don't know, maybe it's Pride Month, and you change it to a rainbow color, rainbow gradient from left to right, then it would show everywhere here. All you would have to do is replace this image by your respective rainbow colored image. If you want these to be placed somewhere else, you would open the CSS file, find where it is defined, where these things pop up, and we would change the numbers. And this is how you would change your theme. And this is exactly what we're gonna do in the next episode. We're gonna go in there and we're gonna mod the Castle theme a little bit so that we have something different, more personalized to our streaming maybe.